this has been going on for a long, long time, way before President Obama, but it seems to have exploded under President Obama. If you want to be an ambassador to a foreign country, you pretty much just have to bundle campaign money and you will become an ambassador. We have 24 bundlers right now. These are the people that find the guys that are donating a lot of money. They bundle the money together and then they give it to the PACs that are working for the politicians. And 24 of these guys are headed to Western Europe right now to be our new ambassadors. And here's a video. It's about 1.5 minutes long, which I know is very long for YouTube, but I think you can do it, of John McCain interviewing a potential ambassador to Norway.
Mr. Sunas, following last year's parliamentary elections, Norway's Conservative Party now had a center-right coalition, as you know, that will include the anti-immigration party called the Progress Party. What do you think the appeal of the Progress Party was to the Norwegian voters?
Thank you, Senator. It's a very seminal question. Generally, Norway has and is very proud of being a very open, transparent, democratic parliamentary government. One of the byproducts of being such an open society and placing such a value on free speech is that you get some fringe elements that have a microphone, that spew their hatred, and although I will tell you Norway has been very quick to denounce them, we're going to continue to work with Norway to make sure.
The government has denounced them? The coalition government, they're part of the coalition of the government.
Well, I would say, you know what, I stand correct. I stand corrected. I stand corrected and would like to leave my answer at they are, it's a very, very open society, and that most Norwegians, the overwhelming amount of Norwegians and the overwhelming amount of people in Parliament don't feel the same way.
I have no more questions for this incredibly highly qualified group of nominees.
Okay, so that's James Sunas. He was trying to become the ambassador to Norway. He has literally no idea what he's talking about.
George James
Sunas. Sorry, George James Sunas.
What's all three of their names, I think. Mr. George, like, again, it's three dumb names. Like, just George Sunas.
Do you think he was trying to do that to pass? Because he was like, I don't know what I'm saying, but if I throw in the third name, it sounds a little more.
But I tell you this, I think that's a guy constantly, that guy reminded me of Gene Simmons. Like a guy constantly desperate to tell you how smart he is, right? He's so insecure about how dumb he secretly is that he feels a need to impress. Gene Simmons is always using big words slightly incorrectly and then kind of being like, hear what I just said? Huh? And right at the beginning of that answer, and we'd seen it in the we had to shorten that clip, you did, Dave, but there's like 2 minutes before that where he's just in the middle of giving an answer and he just runs out of steam. It's important in Norway to continue to gather information and grow many industries, such as the. I'm not even really exaggerating. That's what he does. And then he takes a glass of water and he's like, and then the guy asks him another question. He's like, "Thanks for bailing me out. You were just talking." So, like, and then at the beginning of that answer to McCain, he says, "Well, it's a very seminal question." You know? So I guess the word of the day today was seminal.
What would a seminal? I wanted to ask you guys a seminal question. I really couldn't come up with something that was seminal. It's a seminal.
I don't know.
Look,
it's so embarrassing, and this is public. This is on the public record now. You know, this is not a closed session.
Yeah.
This is not just this guy. It's a board, right, of all the different people who are trying to get this ambassadorship. None of which are well qualified.
Yeah, so literally you don't have to have ever visited the country you want to be an ambassador for.
We know that from the ambassador to be for Argentina, or the potential ambassador to be.
Right, you don't have to speak
many places.
Many places, but
not
he hasn't had the chance yet to visit the country he wants to represent.
Can you imagine the first time you show up at a country, you're like, I'm the ambassador. Never been here before, don't even know where Starbucks is, but
and I'm gonna walk off the plane and insult a major branch of the government, not a branch, but a major party within the government.
Yeah. So isn't this the worst kind of, reset. Obama wanted to reset our foreign relations. Obviously, we have fine relations with Norway, but isn't this the worst kind of things that people think about America? We're going to send some schmuck who literally doesn't know what parties are in the government to be our ambassador.
Yes, but if you honestly, I'm not giving Obama a pass at all, but I will say at least if you look at the Slate article that kind of shows all the different would-be
we'll
ambassadors.
link to it in the description.
All of the ones to countries where we have no relations issues are the ones that were bundlers. All of the ambassadorships to places where there's actual potential conflict, those are people who have worked in foreign relations before.
Right, but that's a pretty tepid.
It is. So it's broken out into thirds, right? It's bundlers, people who have no business working as these ambassadors. Another third is people who were previous ambassadors,
right,
or people who worked for the State Department. And another third, I don't remember what
there
the
was
other
a third
was.
color. It was
There's a third color.
Ben's got the computer.
Oh,
What's
there
that
it
third
is.
color? It's career diplomats.
Career
right.
diplomats, other political appointees, and then these bundlers for Obama. And if you look at where the bundlers for Obama are heavily, are densely populated, it's all in Europe.
Which Western Europe or in there's like Dominican Republic, like they're nice gigs.
They're nice gigs, yeah.
But they are in not so much Obama's defense, in the defense of because Obama, they say he's doing it to a greater extent than Clinton, Bush, or Bush. But they.
But they all
but
did
I'm
it.
not quite buying
Right.
that. Like I don't. So they're not wrong. I just mean this is always. Shirley Temple died yesterday. Shirley Temple, this great, delightful star, and then in 1950 she gets married for the second time to this. She's 22. She never went to college. And she's pretty well educated on the lot, but nonetheless, so she marries her second, she gets married at 18, married again at 22 to this big Republican, and she becomes a Republican fundraiser, Shirley Temple, and she doesn't make it as an adult star, and then Richard Nixon names her a special ambassador to the UN, and then she becomes ambassador to Ghana, and then in 1989 she was the ambassador to Czechoslovakia at the end, so it strikes me that maybe that was a tiny bit important.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that said, everybody said she did great. So like you could rise to the challenge.
What
but
does it take?
Right. It's not a saying that automatically these people aren't going to do a fine job. But it is interesting that I guess grenadine sales were probably funding the Republican Party in the 1950s. Yeah.
But what's it's a delicious beverage.
It is.
It just
good.
was good.
Everybody likes
But
it.
I think what we learned from this is that the ambassadors in places where we have, as you said, good, non-controversial relations, don't do anything.
Exactly.
That's not really important. That post in England or that post in France or all these places, Norway, presumably that job is getting run by the deputy ambassador, who's the career ambassador, who does the actual protocol and stuff. And this guy hosts dinners and meets people and shakes hands and.
And it's good PR.
It's good PR.
I think that's a big part of it.
That said, that's clearly what's happening. That's dumb.
Right.
And if you're trying to reset government, it's a huge mistake.
So then we'll end on this then. So going back to the money and politics thing that we ended the previous segment on, so that's why to me this seems worse with Obama, because he wanted to fundamentally change the way we do business, or at least that's what he said he was going to do. And like this to me is the most obvious, blatant example of just buy a post. Just buy
That is exactly
it. So
what they're
shouldn't we
doing.
hold him to a little bit of a higher standard?
Yeah, they are
than-
purchasing a very cush job.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening, and it's insane to me that are there not qualified? Is there nobody in this country who knows a lot about the Norwegian government? Is there nobody in this country who's actually qualified to have that post? Are there no career diplomats who could be doing this for a living?
I'm pretty sure you know more about Norway than
There's
that
tons
guy.
of people. There's tons of whoever's been. There's people in that Norway staff who presumably could just go on.
Exactly.
Like growing up in D.C., a number of our friends were career diplomats, and they were always the smartest people
And this
in
is
the
what's
room.
insane
guaranteed.
to me is that why would Obama do something
us
like
home.
this again, knowing that we are going to find out about it? You know
Because
what
I
I mean?
don't think
His
he-
constituents are going to be watching this happening and saying, "God damn it, you're letting us down again." You campaigned on these very specific goals, and we all rallied behind you, and now you're proving yourself to be such a hypocrite.
Yeah.
More money in politics.
I don't think he cares, and it's all about money in politics.
James Costas is
Yeah.
the HBO vice president.
Yeah.
Not even the president.
And what's he nominated for?
Not nominated. He's the ambassador
confirmed.
to Spain.
And Andorra.
Yeah, and Andorra.
Yeah.
That's just because
Twofer.
it's not TV, it's HBO, so it's a pretty cushy gig.